The FDA's policy on antibiotic use in livestock is just like most other governmental policy, filled with jargon, exceptions, details. However, I want to boil it down to the essence of it in just a more easily digestible few minutes. So first, let's chart the major developments in studies and policy over the past 80 years. In the 1940s, farmers discovered administering antibiotics at subtherapeutic levels, or amounts smaller than needed to actually cure a bacterial infection, made the animals grow bigger, faster. Side note, we're still using them this way, but we still have no knowledge as to why they have this effect. But carrying on. In the 1950s, the FDA approved antibiotics for such uses. 1969, 20 years later, new strains of bacteria resistant to antibiotics are discovered. 1970, 1 year later, the FDA links the use of subtherapeutic antibiotics to this new development. 1973, the FDA declares the use of certain antibiotics, like penicillin and tetracycline, to no longer be safe. Fast forward 40 years, a lawsuit is filed against the FDA because no action has still been taken in the U.S. based on these recommendations from 1973. 1976, transmission of resistant animal bacteria to humans is proven. 1977, the FDA urges to have a hearing in Congress to debate their safety. 1978, Congress tells them to peace out and do more research. 1980, more research happens. Antibiotics, they can't be proven that they're safe to use. Congress asks for more research. 1984, 4 years later, research suggests that resistant DNA is spreading across bacterial species, meaning that even if you have a bacteria that's just become resistant to penicillin, now that bacteria's ability to adapt can spread to other bacteria and make more resistant strains. 1988, the FDA again petitions the Senate and House, claiming that it has the necessary research to prove that they are not safe for growth promotional purposes. Nothing happens. Fast forward to 2003. Now, there are 40 years after the initial discoveries that this was not safe. Many organizations of scientists and environmental organizations have petitioned the FDA to ban the use of antibiotics for growth promotion because of its contributions to reducing the effectiveness of our antibiotics. The FDA responds that it probably won't approve any new medically necessary antibiotics for use in animals, but all the existing ones, meaning basically every antibiotic on the market, are still okay. In 2006, the European Union bans the use of antibiotics for growth promotion. 2007, the Preservation of Antibiotics for Medical Treatment Act is introduced to Congress. In 2015, it still has yet to gain any traction towards being passed, despite being proposed multiple times over the past 8 years. 2008, antimicrobial manufacturers must report the quality of drugs sold for use in food animals, though no one really knows how they're used after they're sold. 2012, the FDA issues two guidances, the biggest statements on antibiotic use since the 1970s. Guidance 209, which recommends that animal producers phase out the use of drugs for growth promotion and phase in veterinary supervision, and Guidance 213, which asks veterinary pharmaceutical companies to take the growth promotion off the labels of their antibiotics as one of their possible uses. However, it does not mandate any such actions be taken. In 2016, the FDA will evaluate how many companies have adopted the guidance and decide what to do next. However, now you can still go on like Amazon and buy antibiotics, just as any farmers can on any real agricultural website where you would purchase them normally. So it's all over the counter at this point. So now here we are. Basically, since the discovery that the subtherapeutic uses of antibiotics in animals contributes to the antibiotic resistance and stronger strains of harmful bacteria in the late 60s, nothing has been done to actually reduce this practice. Lots of stuff has been talked about. The FDA has said, hey, it's not safe. However, we're still left with absolutely nothing that is enforceable. Technically, if not labeled for growth promotion, antibiotics cannot be legally used for this purpose. However, that's like telling a child that they can only eat cookies on the table if they finish their broccoli and then leaving the room. I wonder what will happen. So there are still no consequences or methods for enforcing these recommendations. Now, perhaps after a history of being shut down by Congress repeatedly, the FDA figures, well, at least we can suggest something, even if we can't accomplish anything. In fact, the actual Guidance 213 states on the first page in bold, the FDA's guidance documents, including this guidance, do not establish legally enforceable responsibilities. Instead, guidances describe the FDA's current thinking on a topic and should be viewed only as recommendations. Then what is the point of having regulatory agencies to protect us in the first place? If our best scientists continually say that our agricultural practices are dangerous, but companies can do as they please regarding the use of drugs that have serious implications for the well-being of our country, then we have a bit of a problem. So why is our current food policy like this? Tune into the podcast tomorrow by checking our Facebook page, and we'll be getting into a lot more of possible reasons why the FDA has been so ineffective and how we are all involved with the government policy formation and the larger corporate structure that's at work.